Welcome to Midnight's Light Paranormal, Season 2.
Ghosts, spirits, demons. What are these entities? What do they want? And why are they here? My paranormal investigation crew's goal is to answer these questions and others like them.
Who are you?
Questions we've been asking for centuries.
Why are you here?
We've assembled a crew of the most dedicated enthusiasts in the area to capture evidence of these entities. What we find might be disturbing, dangerous even, but we are prepared for the journey ahead of us. The question is, are you prepared to take this journey with us? It's midnight. Follow me into the darkness, guided only by Midnight's Light. This is Midnight's Light Paranormal. Tucked away in west central Ohio, just a short drive from Dayton, is the city of Sydney. The seat of Shelby County, Sydney is home to much history. Gothic architecture with a side of local flair, Sydney is a city whose past did much to enrich the colorful history of Ohio. Among the unique buildings in downtown Sydney sits one that's past and purpose is defined by the ornate iron bars on its windows. The old Shelby County Jail. Opened in 1875, this jail housed the county's inmates until 1994. With such a long time in service, the old Shelby County Jail has its own unique and dark history, including suicide and even murder. To get a better perspective of what life and death was like at the jail, we spoke with Deputy Jeff Gilman, who spent many years working in the building.
This is the front door of the old Shelby County Sheriff's Office. 95% of the people that came into this building came into this door, and then where they went from there, whether you were administrative or inmates, depending on where you went from here. While I worked here, we only held males. Before that, and I don't know what time frame, we had females here, and we also had juveniles at one time.
So they just kind of held everybody at one point back in the day.
Of course, the rules were completely different.
Yeah.
And I think, we actually had a female killed here once.
Really?
Yes, by her estranged husband. That's a whole nother story, but...
Jeff then took us upstairs to the cell block where maximum security is located.
In the 4 cells here is just one person. So we held the 4 baddest men of who we had in these cells. And this is all they could see. If you'd stand back here and look out the door, I mean, that's all they could see of civilization is what was through that window.
That was the free world that they could see from this.
That was the free world.
So what's interesting about this place is it was used way back and then all the way until recent times. So you had back when the rules were completely different and everything operated different, and then it just kind of adapted in the same building with newer technology and all that. So I think that's pretty interesting.
We were able to adapt somehow.
Without any prior knowledge of the building's history, and before any interviews were conducted, our psychic medium Steve performed a reading of the old jail. What he picked up eerily lines up with what we learned during our interviews.
So we could hold 8 people here on both sides. That's where this female was killed way back when.
Oh, really? Do you know the story behind that?
She was a real young girl, real young husband. They got married. They came over here to Sydney with friends. She wandered off and was visiting other men. Eventually a husband found out, but she got arrested for that. And it's not prostitution or anything, but like cohabitating, which you never hear of now, but back then it's a big deal. Yeah. She got put in jail overnight. The husband came down to see her. He says, will you come back with me? She says, no. Come on. When you get out, let's get back together. No. Well, she finally said yes. And she didn't get out right away, though. So he says, fine, I'll go out and get some stuff. And so when you get out, we're ready to go home. He goes out and buys a gun. He talks his way back into the jail. the sheriff said, I got to run over to the courthouse for a minute. I'll be right back. You two talk, and when I get back, we'll get the process started. He comes up here. He makes her say one more time, yes, I'll come back with you. Pulls out a gun, shoots her. Dead right there.
Emma Perkypile was murdered by her husband Don, who fled the scene, only to be caught a short time later.
There's a woman with blood in her hair. I can't understand what her name is, though. I still can't get her name. I still can't understand what her name is. I can't. It must be foreign or something. I don't know. But she has blood in her hair, and she died violently, like a sudden jolt, like a violent jolt, in total surprise. And she's ashamed.
Could the last name Perkypile be what Steve seems to not understand? It only makes sense that Emma would be ashamed of why she was locked in the jail in the first place. Her husband Don would not serve much time in prison after he was gifted a chance at freedom.
The governor at that time, whoever it was, decided to have a Christmas promotion that he's going to pick one inmate that he's going to set free, give pardon to for Christmas, as a Christmas present. Lo and behold, it's him.
Oh, wow.
So he gets released relatively quick.
A fire. We can't go any farther this way. Stabbed. Okay, here, not here. The fire wasn't here. I don't think. I don't know what it has to do with here, but
There was indeed a fire that plagued the Shelby County Police Department. The second jail burned to the ground in 1839.
Have you ever experienced anything here?
Here, you ever get that presence where something is here? It's just a blistering hot night, because I usually work nights. No one around except for me and the clerk, and you just get this real cold presence. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it makes your goosebumps.
Yeah, you're going to stand up.
It's not just a breeze, it's something totally different, totally cut off from what it was.
Much more unnatural.
Yeah.
Has anybody else died in here, do you know?
Oh, we've had several. I believe the last suicide was in this one.
Really?
The last suicide over in Max was the second cell down. We've had several suicides here. And it's so easy because there's bars and you can tie a bed sheet off real quick.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
5 minutes. This was our drunk tank.
Really?
Because we could put him in there, he could yell, scream, fight whoever he thought he saw, but he wasn't going to hurt an inmate, a bunk mate. Yeah, just let him sleep it off. So we always kept this open, always. They brought someone in, and he was drunk. First hour I came back to check on him, he was fine, just rambling. The second hour that I came back, he had this whole wall covered with his blood.
Really?
Yes. Have you ever smelled blood? Did you know that you can smell blood?
Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of repulsive.
Yeah, for sure.
He had that whole wall covered.
The whole one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
That is, and we had to get the detention inmates out and have them come down and clean it up.
Does anybody know why?
No, he
decided to do that?
I don't know.
We got a rare chance to interview a man who was locked up here decades ago. He wished to remain unnamed.
Didn't have nothing to do in here but listen to all the creaks and the noises during the night. Before the guards used to have to walk around the catwalk all the way over on the backside, clock in every hour. But back in the days, they didn't do that. They just go up there at the door. They knew how many people was in here. There was no way to get out. And and then they started when they have a clock in every hour. But I was in that one time because I'm so drunk, and these are old toilets. They don't flush on their own. The toilet was flushing by itself. The seat kept coming on, and I thought I was, man, I'm drunk, you know. I got up and sat up in my bed, my bunk, and I watched the seat turn on. I was like, wait a minute. Is anybody over there? And on the other side just messing with me? Wasn't nobody there. I told the guys that, man. They said, man, you was just drunk last night. I said, dude, I heard it, man. I know I ain't drunk. Wow.
After review, we noticed a mysterious light orb shoot across the ceiling directly above both Steve and the former inmate. Take another look.
Were you here when that boy hung himself? Were you here at this?
Actually, I came in after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's another one. He was in the max, and he actually, they said he hung himself, but there was some other incidents. It came out, but I don't want to get ill into that. But yeah, he committed suicide in the max. And when you go into maximum security, you're not supposed to have no clothes on. But usually they do it because you going over there for a fight, and they ain't gonna put you over there, you know, without no clothes on. With a fight, they just put you there. But if they feel you're gonna harm yourself, then they strip you out and make you sit in there with nothing on, no shoes.
I got that in my reading when I was up here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like somebody has died here. I mean, this is like some kind of drug thing, or like a drug overdose, or I don't know. I get the word patient. I don't know what that means. Naked. A prisoner, but I don't feel like it was here. Like maybe another jail, but had something to do with this jail. I mean, it was a guy, real violent, real abusive, and they put a stop to him. They jailed him. I don't know what they did to him or whatever, but it stopped his abuse. And in his death, his negative spirit, I don't know if he was inhabited by a demon or if it was just because he was really, really bad. I just got a cold sensation, like came through here real quick, and it's pretty hot in here. So, but it's like he still sticks to this, maybe to the Shelby County Police, or to Sydney or Shelby County.
What makes this so compelling is the fact that the previous jail, which was located across the street, was the site of the only execution in Shelby County's history. The Rumley man, Alfred Artis, was executed in 1855 for the murder of his daughter. He was particularly cruel to her and was even said to have kept her chained in a shed. She died from deprivation of food, water, and clothes. Once again, Steve's abilities were put to the test, and once again, he did not disappoint. Before our investigation, members of the Sydney Daily newspaper paid us a visit in hopes of writing an article about our time here at the jail. They were particularly interested in the names that Steve picked up on when he first arrived on the property.
A bunch of names came to me in order running down here. I got Powder, Mary, John, Douglas, Emmy or Emma, which her name was Emma, right?
Yep, Emma Verkfile.
Yeah. Tyler, Greg, Donald, which was the man that shot her.
Yeah, Don.
Don.
Don shot her?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Avery and Scott, which we haven't determined who any of those people are yet. But
We want to thank Sandy, the reporter, and Luke, the photographer, who took the time to gather the information that they needed to write an amazing article on Midnight's Light, Paranormal.
Because it's such a large investigation, we decided to bring in 2 guest investigators, Natalie Perry and Josh Deal. You guys ready? Yep.
I don't know.
A little bit. Well, let's do it. We're gonna get out there.
We also decided to bring back one of our former guest investigators, Hayden Schindler, as a full-time member of Midnight's Light Paranormal. Welcome to the team. As we normally do, we set up 8 stationary cameras around the building in places that we feel are hotspots, including one in the room where Emma was murdered, one in the upstairs cell block, one in the old basement, and one in a maximum security cell where a former inmate committed suicide. Before we could even get our investigation started, we captured something that is a first for Midnight's Light Paranormal, an EVP. An EVP, or electronic voice phenomena, is an unexplained sound that is captured on an electronic device but is unheard by the human ear. They are usually associated with spirit voices. To rule out any possibility that the noise was coming from our tech base, we checked our footage. In fact, we were not making any noise at that time. This is what talking at the tech base sounds like from the basement. We were very excited to discover that we captured our first EVP. We decided to start our investigation with a spirit box session. Steve, Hayden, and myself headed upstairs to get things started.
Can you give us a sign that you're here?
Hey.
Yeah.
I heard hey.
Hey, what's your name? Come on, you can do it. Tell us what your name is.
It was kind of an orb.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Bottom left, like in this area.
In this area?
Like right next to the door.
As you can see, an orb comes directly out of my back while I'm holding the spirit box. During this initial sweep, we also bring along our millimeter device to detect any energy fluctuations.
Why don't you tell me your name?
Brian?
Brian. I definitely said Brian.
That was clean
Yeah.
as day.
Brian.
Why are you here, Brian?
Brian.
Ooh.
Brian?
Brian.
Brian?
Brian.
As we headed to the residential side of the building, we captured a loud crackling noise coming from Maximum Security Cell 2.
What's that?
What that one, sir?
I don't know.
There are several things to point out here. First, as I walk by with the spirit box, another orb comes out of my back. Then we hear an unexplained voice that sounds like it is saying help. Finally, we hear another voice that says look, just as Steve is looking through a tiny panel in the door.
What's that?
What that one, sir?
I don't know. What do you want us to do?
Okay, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
It's really a little kid's voice. It's like the third time I've heard that. That doesn't sound like a spirit box. You heard that too?
I heard it.
It didn't sound like it was Spirit Box either. That's freaking me out.
It sounded like a child.
It freaked me out. Ugh.
That was.
What was that?
I did not like that.
I just got super chills.
Me too.
Holy cow.
What are you?
I think we should circle.
Oftentimes, when you receive a response like many when asking the question, "What are you?" it is thought to be negative in nature. Our suspicions would be confirmed shortly after.
What can I do to help you? Die.
After heading downstairs, the responses began to stop. The next device that we wanted to try out was the Ovilus 5. We felt that this was a good time for our guest investigator Josh to join in.
What did it say?
Through.
Through.
And we just came through
Yeah,
the doorway.
we did. So you can see us.
Coin.
Coins.
Whoa.
Wow.
What is going on?
Yeah.
It's like 5 words.
I don't know what any of this means. Can you help us out with this? Oh, wait. Coins,
Yeah.
lady,
Geek.
geek. Could they be talking about like a hooker?
Maybe.
Like a prostitute? Or
Are you? What are you trying to tell us? Is there something? Contrition.
contrition? Smooth. I don't know what contrition even means. Do you?
No. Is it like an act of forgiveness or something?
I don't know.
You're doing good. Keep talking to us. What else do you want to tell us?
Being remorseful.
Oh.
Are you sorry about something?
Could this be Emma, feeling remorse for why she was in the jail in the first place?
Did you just feel another cool spot?
Yeah. Like right.
I'm getting it like right here to the right, right by this cell. Was there anything here?
Yeah, what's going on in here? What happened in here?
We then moved to the other side of the building.
I keep getting that feeling like every room we leave, there's something
Right behind you.
me, man. Like I don't know what. The same thing when I came up here earlier. Like I didn't come off the stairway.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about this side that's just got a different feel to it.
Right. For sure. So you don't want to talk. Children.
Children.
Dives. What's that mean? Children dives.
Did somebody jump from up here?
Were there children here?
As our investigation continues, you may notice that a theme develops around this back staircase. Natalie joins the investigation as we try something that we've never done before, using the spirit box and Ovilus at the same time.
What? Who are you?
Sounds like it said Anita.
Shortly after receiving Jackie on the spirit box, the energy began to erupt, and the Ovilus 5 produced some compelling evidence.
Yeah, a bunch of words downstairs.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Hang.
Hang?
Hang. Warm. Above. Contrition. World.
Wow. There's people that
There
hung
was like
themselves
6
here.
words before that.
Wow. So Josh got the word hang.
Brian?
Did it say Brian?
So did Brian hang himself here?
Yank. Whirl, yank,
And
yank, and abort.
so
Jackie.
Jackie. Who's Jackie?
Jackie Push.
Astonishingly, the name Jackie came across on not one, but two of our devices back to back. And was Brian one of the inmates that died by his own hands here in the old jail?
Got the word hang.
We then move into the room where Emma was shot.
What happened here? Who was here?
Killed? Is that what that said? Oh my god, I just got goosebumps. Yeah, it sounded like she screamed it.
So you were killed here.
This is one of the most clear and relevant responses that we've ever received on the Spirit Box.
Killed? Killed? Okay, I have a question. Who's she? What's her name? Did I say that one? What is it? Say it again.
For the second investigation in a row, it seems that the spirits know the names of our guest investigators.
So, what do you want me to do, Brian?
I keep getting a feeling to this cell. Is there something about this cell? Did something bad happen in here?
This is the second cell that Josh has been affected by. This is Max cell number 3. The first was Max 1. Keep this in mind for later. Speaking of maximum security, I decide that it is time for me to spend a little time in solitary confinement. As I'm doing this, some of the other members of our team conduct an EVP session, including Steve, Hayden, and for the first time ever, our executive producer Devin enters the field as an investigator.
Hey, Sage. There you go.
Oh, that's cool. Just leave Hayden. That works. Because I totally wanted to be by myself. Richard, I don't like this.
Alright, Devin, you locking me in here?
I'm locking you in.
OI. The heck does OI mean? It could be initials. OI. Religion. Those. Truck. Wed. Maximum. Science. Herd. Emmeline. Okay, just got so many responses. But I got maximum, which I'm in a maximum security cell right now. Science, we're using scientific equipment. Sold, disregarded, none, often. Roberts, son, pounds. Holy crap. You're really going to town on this device. That's good. That's good. Keep going. Well, how do you feel? What does it feel like? Forever safe. So that's how it feels. Like you're forever safe.
Come sit with us. Do part of an investigation.
Alright, I'll come sit with you.
As Devin joins the EVP session, they begin to hear a tapping noise coming from just outside the door.
That door right there just moved.
Oh,
That door right there, that was right there.
Unfortunately, the door is located just off camera. We didn't capture any EVPs during the session, but leaving me on the second floor completely by myself added to the feeling of being in solitary confinement.
So I'm officially on this entire floor by myself. Like they're not up here anymore. Bind. Alone. Bind alone. That's hilarious because they binded the door shut and I'm alone. Yep. Drift, well, console. Console. I am trying to talk to you, you know. And I hope I helped by giving you this chance to communicate. I know that I'm alone. Unholy, great. I was about to say, I don't feel alone. Unholy. What is unholy? Is me doing this, trying to communicate with you, is that unholy? Maybe. I guess there's really no way to know. I mean, we're not doing it for bad reasons.
After receiving direct responses to my questions, I guess I never was completely alone.
Alright, my sentence is up.
At this point, we decided to bring out our newest piece of equipment, the 3D camera system.
So what we did is we took an Xbox 360 camera, we got a Windows tablet, we uploaded some software on here and had to do a little bit of programming. But so what this does is it uses lasers, IR lasers, in such a way that it actually will bounce off of something and come back, and it's registered in one of the three lenses up front. And so it can actually map out like a skeleton-based object of an individual.
As you can see, this device locates people by outlining their skeleton on the screen. It can also map the skeletons of figures that we cannot see with our own eyes.
The first word we got as soon as we entered the door was malicious.
Okay, this ought to be fun.
Oh yeah.
Can you show yourself again? I saw you for a split second.
It was through the bar too.
Yeah. Where'd you go? Right there.
Oh, it's hanging.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's hanging.
God, dude, I've got goosebumps.
Me too.
My face.
Oh my gosh, I don't like that.
Is his arms like going up to his head?
Oh my god, it's got like something hanging from it.
I don't like this.
Look at that.
I don't like this.
And it's between the bars, right?
Yep, it's between the bars. It's mapping and yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't like that at all.
Oh my god.
I can bend down, I got more of it.
And it's gone. And it's gone.
This is some of our most compelling evidence to date. You can tell that it is not mapping the figure on the bars because on both screens it shows that it is hanging in the spaces in between. You can also tell this by noticing that the horizontal bars shown on this screen are brown on this screen.
Do? I just said I'm going to leave this right here until we come back, and it said do.
Oh my god.
I'm going to leave that there for a minute. Talk into that box.
Yeah, well.
Oh my god, does that look like it's hanging
Another
too?
hanging.
Oh my
What the heck?
Look.
And it looks like he's grabbing it.
Yeah, that's what I thought the other one like was putting his hands up to the neck.
Yeah, look.
I do not like that. Can you stop?
Come down and talk to us.
It's not terrifying. Keep in mind that Josh was affected by 2 cells in this section of the jail. Max cell number 2 is where our camera is located. Max cells 1 and 3 are where Josh was affected, and are also the cells that we captured the hanging figures in.
Did something bad happen in here? Jumped.
Jumped.
Steve, this is where we were at earlier, and they kept saying like dived and pushed. Necessary.
Necessary. It's necessary to tell us that when we're here, maybe.
I wonder if anybody got pushed down these steps.
That's what I keep thinking. Like did something happen
It's a
here?
child too.
Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps again, man. Whew.
We head down the stairs to see if we can capture anything relevant to what we received on the Ovilus.
I wonder if.
Oh, it was through that window.
Through the window.
Whoa.
Look, someone's in that window.
What are you doing in the window?
Looks like it's knocking on the window and waving. Look.
There's no glass there, though.
But there was at one time.
There was at one time, yeah.
It just disappeared. It was in this window.
We wanted to finish our investigation with one last sweep of the building with our spirit box. But before we could get a chance to, something amazing happened.
About 40 minutes.
This one might be a little bit longer.
No way. Holy
cow.
No way.
It just opened up.
It just knocked and started. No way.
It's
Open it up.
shaking
Is there a
still.
bat in there? Is there a bat
It's
in there?
still shaking.
Open it. Open it. No freaking way that just happened.
Yeah, sure, open up.
No way.
This cabinet
dude.
just opened.
Those are tight. I mean,
Hey, those have been closed all day.
Feel that, Steve. I mean, that's that is. You have to put some effort into moving that.
Resistance to
Oh
those
God!
hinges.
See how stiff that is?
It's so stiff that the hinges are like.
I don't know. It just like that's what that pop was.
I heard it.
It did that, and
Yeah,
it just
that's
started
what it did.
shaking.
Wow.
This evidence helped motivate us to finish our investigation strong.
Is there anything you want to tell us this one last time? You've talked to us on these steps before.
What did that say before?
Do you want us to leave? No?
Oh, wow.
Say no or go?
I think it said no.
No?
We then head over to the examination room.
Have you ever been a patient on this table?
Oh my.
What did that say?
Oh my.
What did that say?
This examination table is a bit mysterious due to the fact that it is located in a jail that was primarily used for men in its later years, yet it has stirrups on it.
Were you ever in pain up here?
In love? In love? In love? Or is it Emma whose husband killed her here? And she was in love with her husband even though she cheated on him.
Is that Emma trying to talk to us? Is there anything else you want to say in this room? Get out.
Yes. Get out. Okay. See ya.
Get out. Get out. Will you tell me what happened here before we leave?
What?
It seems that this spirit is trying to tell us one last time what really happened on these stairs. The final thing that we wanted to accomplish on our sweep was communicating with whatever we saw in this window earlier.
Who's there in the window?
Aaron?
Aaron or Karen?
I heard Aaron.
Who's there in the window?
We felt that this was a good time to end our investigation here at the Old Shelby County Jail. The 16-plus hours that we spent at the Old Shelby County Jail was memorable, to say the least. One might even say disturbing at times.
Oh, it's hanging.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's hanging.
It is our opinion that this location is inhabited by many spirits and haunted by a dark entity, angered by the justice served upon its host. We left the Old Shelby County Jail with a better appreciation for life and our own freedom. The shadows that roam the corridors have their own stories to tell. In life, they lived on the wrong side of the law. Now they are doomed to serve their sentence in the afterlife.
The Grim Reaper always does his work clean. Life is nothing but a dream. The Grim Reaper always does his work clean. Life is nothing but a dream. The Grim Reaper always does his work clean. Life is nothing but a dream.
For the latest news on Midnight's Light Paranormal, like us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and follow us on Instagram. All of these links can be accessed under the About tab on our YouTube channel.